Hi, I'm Jason Fries. I'm a research scientist at Snorkel AI, and today I'll be talking about better, not bigger, distilling LLMs into specialized models. All right, so everyone's excited about large language models and their amazing abilities, and you can say that large language models are extremely good generalists. That is to say, they're capable of doing a lot of different varied tasks. And we see that in amazing zero and few shot performance on tasks that the models have never been trained directly to do. And so while exciting, this set of abilities comes at a cost, especially when we think about deploying LLMs in practice. And LLMs are very difficult to deploy in no small part because they're extremely often large. And so this size, just to give us some example numbers, for a 175 billion parameter model, that requires at least 350 gigabytes of GPU memory. That's quite a bit of expensive hardware just to run a single model. If you want to scale this to do serving at scale, you often require specialized infrastructure, such as Google's Alpa infra. And all of these sort of result in language models as a deployment idea being very expensive, even when we think of them just as abstractions as API endpoints, such as pinging OpenAI or another vendor. And so what this talk today is going to discuss is sort of this idea of we shouldn't be deploying large generalist models. We should be deploying small specialized models. And so what we'll talk about is some techniques to construct those specialized models with much better efficiency in terms of parameter size and cost at inference. And so if you're a ML practitioner, you have a number of tools in your toolbox to build a specialized model. On the left, you have your classic, manual annotation of data by domain experts to curate a training set of which you adapt or train a small model. And recently, we have a newer technique called model distillation, and this is based on an idea that we can take a more powerful model, a teacher model, and use it to pseudo-label unlabeled examples. And that process allows us to build a training set by which we can use to train a smaller model. And this then gets the performance benefits of a larger model, but the practical deployment benefits of a smaller parameter size and not having to manually label data. And so to give a little bit into model distillation, again, it is predicated on the idea of access to a more powerful model. Large language models certainly fit the bill in this modern paradigm. And we use that model in some capacity to generate pseudo-labeled training data, which is used to then train our student model. And this originated in a paper in 2015. We've seen various versions of this over the past couple of years. One important point of distinction in this particular framing is that we're very interested in not necessarily replicating the generalist abilities of say, a GPT-4, but we're interested in distilling a very targeted special use case model. And this has sort of different trade-offs than as some people have commented recently about kind of failings of distillation when we think about just sort of copying a GPT-4 through training data. This would be something like self-instruct in the alpaca model out of Stanford. And so this different use case is a little more constrained, but has some more desirable properties and that we'll talk a little bit about. Okay, so just to dive a little deeper into pros and cons of these techniques, smaller models are easier and less expensive to deploy. That's a very practical concern. In our era of large language models, we should be very concerned about data moats. That is to say, we don't want to necessarily hand out our precious enterprise data to third parties over an API. So smaller models built in-house allow you to preserve these data moats. And so if we look at the two techniques I showed in the previous slides, they have these pretty significant disadvantages. So for fine-tuning, we're usually on the hook to collect human-generated labels. And this can often be expensive and tedious. and difficult to scale to grind out a particular level of quality. For model distillation, it requires a larger, more powerful model. Luckily, language models often fit the bill, but they also require a large amount of unlabeled data. And, while unlabeled data is more prevalent than labeled data, there are many settings where you simply don't have an infinite supply of data to feed into distillation. So we're broadly interested in optimizing our ability to not only auto-label data, but reduce the size of those data sets. And so what I'll talk a little bit about is a very recent paper that was presented at ACL 2023 that talks about a new take on model distillation using large language models. And this is done in part by, it's a collaboration with Google Research with a bunch of folks from Snorkel AI. And the real key insight is that language models are wildly capable of doing interesting reasoning. So this has led to a lot of interesting work on agent-based modeling using language models. And so what this gives us is that instead of just using a model to distill a label, it can actually provide a rationale in natural language of why it arrived at that label. And rationales are really valuable sources of supervision for training a model that have classically been very, very expensive to obtain. So what language models give you is this ability to curate a large set of rationales at a much more efficient ability to scale. And so this paper explores this idea of distilling step by step, that is to say, breaking apart the labeling process into these rationales and labels and distilling training data from a much larger model. In this case, a 540 billion parameter Palm model down to the scale of the smallest 220 million T5 model. And to walk through how this looks, for folks who are familiar with chain of thought prompting, this is a very powerful technique to get the language model to reason step by step. And so one approach to prompt a model in this way is to provide a few examples of these chains of thoughts of reasoning. In this figure on the left, we see that the rationale is provided in green, and then the real answer, which is the label in this case, is in blue. And we can provide a few examples in a few shot setting to a language model to get the model to produce both rationales and labels. And so what we want to do is take advantage of these rationales to improve our ability to distill a smaller model. So in classic distillation, you have this pretty standard setup where you have your unlabeled input. You've generated a pseudo label using your teacher model, and then you just fit a standard loss over this pseudo label Y. And so to incorporate a rationale, one option is to simply prepend or append the rationale as part of the input. However, this has a big disadvantage in that you need the rationale at inference time. And so you really haven't bought yourself any or much practical benefit because you still need some sort of language model behind the scenes to give you that rationale when you actually want to make a prediction. So you haven't really saved any inference costs. So what distilling step by step proposes is that instead of using the rationale as an input, you use it as a form of supervision, and you use a model to predict that rationale in a multitask setup, which involves now combining this label loss, which again is just the standard distillation loss, with a rationale-based loss, where you're actually predicting the rationale given the input. And so now what we have is a setup where you can use an LLM to generate this richer rationale and label training set from unlabeled data. And then once you have that, you can use the approach presented by T5 and other works, where you prepend a prefix to your input to tell the model the type of output you want. And then you train a model in this multitask way so that the smaller model is learning to predict both the label and generate the rationale. And what that does is removes at inference time the dependency on the rationale. So you can just train, or you can just do inference using the label. And so now we've sort of got the benefits of the rationale without necessarily requiring it at inference time. And so if you train a model in this way, using this approach, you see a number of really exciting benefits. The Google research team looked at a variety of NLP benchmark tasks, from natural language inference to common sense reasoning to math word problems. And what they found is that if you train using this distilling step by step, you can get a 20% to 78.5% reduction in training set data size. So that means you need that much less unlabeled data to actually outperform, in many cases, the same small model if you trained on all of the available data. And that's what this green line is available here. And so you're doing much better over standard fine-tuning in both settings. And so you also get the benefits of the smaller deployed model size, basically distilling the performance of a 540 billion parameter Palm model into 220 million and 770 million T5 models. So over 700 times smaller than the competitors. And it shows that it even outperforms when you use a pretty powerful baseline technique of few-shot chain of thought prompting, which is this green line here. And finally, it outperforms existing few-shot using LLMs with less data, and so you get all of these really nice advantages of a smaller model and large language model size performance, but small model size. Okay, so I wanted to walk through this idea in a practical case study scenario. So this I'm asking you to think about this task, which we have looked in this case study, which is to classify legal provisions in a large collection of contracts. So we have this massive data set called Ledger, which consists of 60,000 training examples and a test set of 10,000 examples. These are just clauses in a contract. The task is very high cardinality. That means there are 100 classes of which a clause could be assigned to. And if we were to imagine manually curating this data set, we would need to get a contract lawyer, and that expertise comes at about $74 an hour. So given this setup, we wondered, well, could we use Snorkel Flow and Distillation to achieve a much better we could achieve a much less expensive model without sacrificing the performance of a state-of-the-art large language model. Oops. And so that motivated this blog post that we wrote last year, myself, Steve Bach, and Braden Hancock, called Better Not Bigger: How to Get GPT-3 Quality at 0.1% of the Cost. And the way we set this up is we looked at the cost to actually manually label a large data set for this task. And so that would involve hiring 2 contract lawyers to label 1,000 provisions for a total cost, after double annotating everything, of about $7,400 in labeling costs. If we were to take that and fine-tune what at the time was a state-of-the-art large language model, which is GPT-3, we find that we got a model of about 72.5% accuracy using their fine-tuning API. And to evaluate our test set, which is to run the model that we paid to train, cost about $173 per 10,000, which is the entire test set. So pretty expensive to run at inference. And so we wondered, well, maybe we can save money in some way. So let's try all of these fancy zero and few shot abilities that are touted about language models. And what we found is that GPT-3 at the time actually performed worse than even a simple TF-IDF rule-based baseline. And if we were to look at a wide sampling of, at the time, really high-performance language models, we found that performance only ranged from 29.9 to 66% accuracy. And this includes stuff like open source and then models from Cohere. And so we were interested, well, instead of distilling from a single model, could we use Snorkel Flow to leverage the best of all of these models, these large language models? to synthesize distilled output from multiple sources and combine all of these models to distill down to a Roberta-based model, which is exactly 228 million parameters, and look at the cost trade-offs of training that model versus training the GPT-3 fine-tuned model. And what we found is that to fine-tune GPT-3, it costs $7,418 to build the model. And then inference was that $173 per 10,000. If we were to use Snorkel Flow to combine all of those language models from the previous slide, we would pay $1,915 for API calls to build our training set. But inference now of Roberta base is only 26 cents for 10,000 examples. So we've completely shifted the cost curve where that model, which we train, gets the same performance as GPT-3, but is GPT-3 is 1,400 times bigger. But now inference cost is 0.1%, and our model building was 75% less. So what are our takeaways here? Well, training signal is the bottleneck, not the sophistication or size of the language model. When we were able to curate better data, we were able to get a model that outperformed at the time state-of-the-art large language models. So the lesson here is we should think of LLMs as a way to curate higher quality training data, which dramatically reduces the need for manual labeling, the need for unlabeled data, and allows us to train smaller, less expensive models for deployment that are specialized to tasks that we care about. And with that, I thank everyone for your time.